released responses to the State Comptroller's inquiry on October the 7th, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has published a partial transcript of a cabinet meeting which was held on September the 12th of 2023, in which the former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant had said that the security situation was stable and urges Israel to hold back its forces against Hamas. The released responses aimed at shifting responsibility onto the leadership of the IDF and the Shin Bet were submitted to State Comptrollers Netanyahu Engelman on December the 25th of 2025. In the highly curated document, apparently designed to present Netanyahu in a positive light and minimize his responsibility for the October the 7th attacks, and also includes a summary of a September the 21st of 2023 situational assessment led by former IDF Chief of Staff Herzi Halevi. The assessment states that the Chief of Staff believes that it is responsible and possible to create a positive direction with Hamas through economic incentives. Professor Gunaratne joins us once again to discuss this ongoing situation inside Israel. In terms of this investigation into October the 7th, which of course saw over 1,000 Israelis dead and over 200 kidnapped, do you think Benjamin Netanyahu is leading this probe in the correct way in shifting blame to his IDF and Shin Bet chiefs?
As a political leader, certainly Benjamin Netanyahu will want to protect himself. But we must also understand that the Shin Bet and the IDF are very professional organizations led by professionals. But unfortunately, it is very likely that these two leaders followed the political direction of the leaders. There's something called politicization of intelligence to accommodate the views of the political leaders. That may have happened. But again, I want to tell you that everyone is responsible in such a situation. It is the Prime Minister, the IDF chief, and the Shin Bet chief. And what is important is now to fix those challenges. Because during that time, the thinking of the government of Israel was that by giving more economic incentives, Hamas will not go down the road of violence. But certainly the Israelis, although they are very brilliant people, they made a misassessment, and their assessment was flawed. Their thinking was resulted in a major terrorist attack. So the key lesson is threat groups, terrorist groups like Hamas should never be trusted. And I think that it is so important for the world to learn from this entire experience, and also for both political leaders, intelligence leaders, and military leaders to learn that they have to conduct themselves in a way, because they will be investigated, and there will be, as a part of traceability, as a part of accountability, when things go wrong, they will have to respond to those allegations. Otherwise, they will be fined and they could even be imprisoned.
And Professor Gunaratne, the Israeli Prime Minister as well has come under much criticism in the way in which he is conducting this investigation. Him and his coalition have repeatedly refused to set up a classic state commission of inquiry. What does that show to the Israeli public in the way that the current Likud government is committed to probing the October the 7th attack?
I believe that even at a later date, there will be an independent inquiry, and that is going to, it is better for this inquiry to look at all the aspects comprehensively, because sooner or later, when Netanyahu is replaced, there will be another inquiry in Israel, which will be considered more fair by the people. So what is crucial at this point is that any inquiry into October 7th massacre by Hamas-led terrorist groups be conducted in an impartial way, and those who made wrong judgments, they will be punished. And of course, the Israelis are determined to do that because they want to have the very best security and intelligence system, very best law enforcement and military system, and the very best political and governance system.
Professor, Israelis go to the polls later this year. There is this investigation, which is of course going on, and Netanyahu also faces a corruption trial that's lasted the past 5 years. What's the public sentiment around the Israeli Prime Minister right now, given the fact he is facing these investigations?
The public currently believe that Netanyahu is the best leader because he has dismantled many of the terrorist threats facing Israel. But again, the momentum against him is building with all these allegations. So there will be other leaders who will want to be prime minister. In fact, one of the strong emerging candidates is the former Mossad head, Yossi Cohen. So I believe that Netanyahu will be challenged because there are too many allegations against him. But again, leaders, political leaders, as you know, amidst these allegations, like President Trump, so many cases against him, but he still became the president. So I think that it very much depends on the capacity and the ability of.
Yes, Professor Rohan Gunaratne, thank you so much for taking the time in joining us.